Hello and welcome to our 4-H Club virtual officer training for community service chairs. I'm Stacy Foy. I am the County 4-H agent, and today I'm going to be going over your job responsibilities as a community service chair. Congratulations on being elected. Community service is a really important part of our 4-H programming. It's a big part of citizenship, giving back to others and helping our community where the need is. And so I hope that you are excited about being a community service chair. You have a lot of fun options that you can look into for doing community service projects with your 4-H club. So the first thing I want to do is I want to share my screen. I have created a digital handbook for you this year. You will be able to get this in paper copy, but you can also save this to your computer or tablet and use it as well. Okay, so let's go down to your responsibilities on page 3. So your big responsibility is facilitating a community service project for your club. What is a community service project? Well, a community service project or a service project is something that your club does to fill a need within your community. So you are to help your club select at least one community service project to complete. You may find that you love doing this and want to do a service project each month. That's fantastic. We love that. But you're going to come up with some ideas. And the best way to do that is just ask your teacher for some time to brainstorm with your club on community service projects, okay? So once you decide on a community service project, get permission to do the project. Make sure that your teacher is on board with this and that they agree that this is a community service project that you can do. Now, you may find that you need to contact the charity or contact someone if you're raising funds or donating items and find out what their needs are. You know, don't do a donating program for the animal shelter for newspapers and then find out that they have tons of newspapers already. You want to call the shelter or call the charity and find out what their needs are right now. Keep in mind, this is a service project for your club. So we want to do something that everybody can participate in. Now, some members may choose not to participate, but you want to make sure that they have the option. A great thing about community service chair is that you can choose a committee of 4 to 5 members to help plan the project, and they can help you work as a team to get those big jobs done. So as a committee, you can work together to plan the what, where, and when of the project. So what's the project going to be? Where's it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Who's going to be involved in it? So say you decide as a club that you're going to collect canned soup for the local food pantry. So you want to make sure that you have planned what it's going to be, what's the food item. Where can we collect that? Are we going to collect it in our classroom? Are we going to put it in the front office? If you're going to collect it in the classroom, make sure your teacher's okay with that. If you are going to collect it at the front office, you want to ask your principal for permission to do that. If your project is going to have a certain end date, like we want to do this within the month of February, you make sure you've got that sorted out too. You may challenge other, excuse me, you may find that you want to challenge other 4-H clubs, or you may want to ask and see if we can do this as a school-wide project. So those are things that you want to keep in mind when you're going through the planning process, okay? Also, you want to have a way to notify everybody in your club of what's going on. So the best way to do that is to make a little flyer. I will be happy to help you with that if you need help. Your teacher may be able to do that as well, okay? But, you know, teachers have a lot to do. I don't want you to overburden your teacher with things, so make sure that your teacher knows that I'm happy to do that as well, okay? So things that should go on the information or on the flyer, types of information that you put on the flyer. What is it that we're doing? When is it due? What is it for? Things like that, okay? This is a 4-H community service project. And then in the back of this booklet, there's a community service project form. If you're doing a service project, I would love for you to report that to me, and you can do that by submitting this form by May 1st. You can either email it or print it off and give it to me, or mail it to me, take a picture of it and text it to me, those types of things, okay? So here in this letter to you is my email and my office phone number. Always call me if you have questions, okay, or need help with anything. Email is the best way to get a hold of me right now, because we are still working from home today in my home office. You can also call our UT Extension office. There is somebody there every day during the work week. They will take a message. If you call during after hours, you're going to get an answering machine. Please make sure to leave your name and a phone number and why you called, your purpose, okay? And I'll get back with you. So here's a guide for creating service projects. So when you're going through with your classroom, what I want you all to think about is there a problem in your community that is not being addressed or needs more help? All right. Brainstorm with your class for ideas. How can you make a difference with these issues? Something that's important to remember about brainstorming is you can write that in from, you can write ideas on the board or you can write it in paper. Everybody's ideas deserve to be written down. We don't want to say things like, that's a bad idea, or we can't do that, or, we want to make sure that everybody feels encouraged to give their ideas. This is how creativity is born and helps, not is born. This is how creativity takes flight within your brainstorming, okay? Because if someone has an idea and it gets shut down, someone else that may not be as outgoing that has an idea that would be really good may be discouraged from giving their idea, if we're shutting other people's ideas down, okay? So some way that if you have lots of ideas, you can organize your ideas into different categories. An easy way to do it is like direct services, which would be face-to-face contact with those people who need service, or, if it's a letter writing campaign, that would be direct services. Indirect services would be doing a fundraiser or a collection, taking up a collection like a can drive for a food pantry. And then advocacy is like letter writing or public service announcements. Like say your class is tired of seeing all the trash on the side of the road and you want to do some videos to put on social media that say, don't throw out your trash, don't be a litter bug. That's an advocacy service project, okay? So some issues, keep in mind that some issues require a lot of people, money, and time, but what issues discussed are the right size for your club? I can think of a good example. We've talked about community service projects in 4-H before, and somebody may have the idea to do a car wash to raise funds for something. Well, that's fine to do a car wash when it's warm out. So if we're talking about this in December, it might not be very timely. Something, if something that's going to require a lot of money or a lot of people may not be something that you can do, but there still may be a way that you can contribute to that need within your own club, that fits your club size and time limits and things like that, okay? So here's some community service project ideas that are pretty common. Most of them are going to meet some needs that we have in our community. Donating food to a food pantry. There's lots of food pantries. Churches run them. We have a little free food pantry in the Atkins Porter neighborhood. We have an actual food pantry at the old center school. You can collect coats and blankets for a group in need. A lot of our 4-Hers are growing very, very quickly, growing like a weed, and they may outgrow their coats. They may have extra blankets. I know we have lots of extra blankets at our house, and there's always folks that need those things. Adopt a grand friend at a local nursing home. There's lots of older folks that are in the nursing home that may not get visitors very often, especially right now. In the time of COVID, I don't think they're allowing any visitors. So it may be wonderful to send them cards and letters. You could organize a walkathon to raise money for a group or charity. The great thing about a walkathon is 4-Hers can do their walking by themselves, not by themselves, but on their own at home. And you don't have to have a big group meeting since we are in the times of COVID, and that does prove some difficulty. But you can still do a walkathon or, things like that. And that can be done at each 4-Hers home, and then they can report on how much they've walked or whatever. Okay. You may choose to create a pollinator garden at your school. This kind of helps to not only beautify your school, but can also be used in some of the educational programs that teachers are doing, and it's good for the environment. If you don't know what a pollinator garden is going to have lots of different plants that flower that attract different insects that are pollinators because they're so important to us. You may decide that you want to organize a beautification project for your school. You may find that there's a part of town that needs some beautifying. A lot of nonprofit organizations may need a new coat of paint or just a cleanup or some scrubbing done. And a lot of nonprofits don't really have the funds to hire extra people to do those things. You may write letters or cards to servicemen and women. You may want to collect money for a charity by doing a penny drive. So you would place penny jars at your teacher's desk, and everybody can bring in a few pennies every day. And that's something that you could easily do with the entire school. Remember, challenge other 4-H clubs or your entire school to take part if you feel like you want to do that, okay? Now, here is the community service project report. It's fairly easy to fill out, but you can get your teacher to help you. Once again, if you need help from me, I'm happy to help you. But do keep a record how many hours were contributed to this project. And so hours are going to be the time that you and your committee spent on planning and carrying it out. So just because we did letter writing for 30 minutes doesn't mean that you didn't do some planning that lasted more than 30 minutes, okay? So make sure that you count the hours contributed to this project, the number of people that were served. If you're not sure, you can guess that. If you donate food, that's kind of hard to tell the number served, but you can do a guesstimate. The number of volunteers assisting, if you had any parents or other people that assisted that were not involved in your 4-H club, you can list them. You may not have any volunteers, and that's okay too. How many of your 4-H club members participated in the project? Here's a place for you to describe your service project. You don't have to write me a book, just an overview. I know it says describe in detail, but just a good overview works. Where did you get the idea for your project, especially if it's something that is unique or different? Did you look it up on the internet? Did someone in your club come up with it? And then what is the impact your project had on the beneficiaries and your 4-H club? And so this is something your teacher can help you with too. A lot of times helping others and helping our community makes us feel really good. And so if you have anything to report about the impact on your beneficiaries or your 4-H club, then here's the place to do it. And those are due to be by May 1st. So this concludes our training. If you have any questions or run into roadblocks or have issues, on the back page, once again, here's my phone number and my email. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help you, okay? So thank you very much for attending our virtual training, and I look forward to seeing you in our 4-H meetings. Thanks. Bye-bye.